Hey y'all, welcome back to Square County Homestead. Glad you made it back here with us. So you've probably done bought your chicks, probably bought too many chicks, right? Chicken math is a real thing. They're in your brooder, they're getting bigger, starting to get too big. You've got to decide on a coop if you hadn't already. So follow along with us. We've got a powerhouse of a coop. We've upgraded the hoop coop, and well, let's take a look and see what we've done. I mean, we're not building a clock or nothing like that. All right, so our material list today, what we're going to be using, we just got a little impact drill, tape measure, got some panhead screws and some deck screws, a little speed square. Of course, we always using some zip ties. And this is an 8 foot long 2x4, but I just ripped in half. But now you can buy that already, an inch and 3/4 wide. That's what it comes out to be. Uh, this is vinyl sheets, corrugated sheets. This right here is 18 inches wide by the length of the coop, which is right at 10 foot. And we got a little bucket. So these are the little screws, the little panhead screws I use. They're just 3/4 inch long. I keep these on hand. Just figured I'd show you the package. So you've already seen the build for the original hoop coop. Now, this one actually, this was the very first one we ever built, and this is not the one on our best hoop coop video. That was like the second one. So this is the original. And a little backstory on this design was the very first time I seen this, there was a 7 or 8 year old girl on YouTube that had this little dainty little coop. It was similar to this. It was all made out of like 3/4 and 1/2 inch pipe, little chicken wire, and she had a couple little chicks in there. And I said, you know what? I said, that'll work as long as we beef it up a little bit. And well, that's what we've come to. So the one that you've seen the video on and the updated video that was 2 years later is still running strong out there. We'll actually probably go look at it later. But this is the original one. So we tore the tarps off of it. We're going to do something a little different with this one. So first thing I'm going to do, that ripped up 2x4, we're going to lay that across here. And I want a 10 inch from outside to outside. I'm going to run it on out there. Now we're going to run some decking screws in there. Okay, so now I'm fixing to put this roll of wire that's 18 inches wide and it's roughly 10 foot long. I'm going to use these little panhead screws and I'm going to run that in the bottom of the base. Okay, so I got this started and all I've done, I just put a few zip ties right here on the corner. I want to keep that level. I don't want it going past the rail. Then I did take my little speed square. I come in here and I want to try to keep this square. I mean, we're not building a clock or nothing like that, but I do want to be able to keep this rail square. I'm going to do the same thing. We'll put a couple screws in it right here in the bottom, and we'll move on to the next little rail. Right there, how we got it screwed off with those panhead screws at the bottom, and we've started putting our zip ties right here. We're putting a speed square on here, keeping it kind of square, and putting 2 or 3 zip ties. All right, we got a hardware cloth on, zip tied, it's screwed down to the base. So now we're going to attempt to put this vinyl corrugated, I call it tin. Looks just like the tin, but it's not, it's a vinyl. And we're going to use these same panhead screws Just little self-tapping screws, and we're going to try to hit this 1/2 inch line. At least that's the plan anyway. So these pieces only come in, we only have it in 8-foot sections. So basically we're going to cut us a 2-foot section to make this gap up. And I'll take that little screw back out. I just needed it there to hold us for a second. And we'll stick this piece underneath here and screw it back off. Now I've got 4 right there. When I put my other piece, it'll overlap here. So on and so forth. You put as many as you think that's necessary. I got to go back, put a couple in right here. And we'll start the next sheet. I'm going to start my full sheet on this end and work my way back this way. So I have another cut in or a cut sheet on the opposite end. All right, so we got our little vinyl corrugated sheets. Is it perfect? No, of course not. It's a chicken coop. But it's going to work. It's going to work just fine. I know that panel's dirty. I don't care. Okay, so this is the opposite side. When I put the sheets down, I forgot to explain this. When you come over the top, really you want these lower pieces underneath the top pieces. That way the water rolls over and it wouldn't roll down and in. Would it make a big difference? Probably not. But just to be on the safe side, that's the way we did it. Now, this is where we're at. We're concerned about the heat, extreme heat. So we've got it open on the sides and both doors. You know, we've got wire through there on both ends because we want complete airflow. So maybe if you're up north, colder temperatures, you may want to bring this all the way down. If it gets extreme, what we'll do when the door is up, we can also always cover this with a tarp or something, you know, if we had to. All right, so bringing you on the inside, and something I did not think about is I've got a little gap right here. You know, we got a couple of gaps, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a couple of holes, run a couple of zip ties, and I'm going to suck this fencing up to our vinyl sheets. All right, so you see we just drilled 2 holes, just run a zip tie, cinched everything up. Okay, so you see we just added some bungees on both ends. So both ends are now doors. That's kind of one thing we made different from the other one. I'm going to try it and just see, is there a major weight change? It shouldn't be. No. Now you can tell it's a little bit heavier, but not bad at all. So we're going to go a little extra. Of course, we're going to go extra, but we're going to add a watering system to this hoop coop. But if you don't want a watering system, hey, that's the end of the video for you. But keep watching. We're going to do something a little special with that water. Now, this is the reason why we had these little half two before spaced the way we did. That's basically our bucket's going to sit right there. I'm going to build this watering system. Now, I'm going to build it to where you can fill the bucket like with a hose, and then I'm also going to build it to where I can hook a hose to it directly, and it'll be a fully automatic water. So let's get started on this bad boy. Okay, so you to the watering part of our little video here. Of course, I got a 5-gallon bucket. Now, a few little tools. I got pipe cutters. I got my little drill. Some other things. I don't have the right size. I got a regular drill bit and what we call a unibit. That's going to work for us, okay? These little materials, I think I got 6 1-foot pieces of 1/2 inch PVC, a little thread tape, a 1/2 inch 90. This is a tank drain plug, okay? And dummy me figured out this is actually reverse threads. So to loosen it, you go to the right. So it's reverse threads. So what we're going to do, I've got a 1/2 inch male Anytime you see threads, go ahead. We're going to use that thread tape, about 8 wraps. This is a 3/4 male by half female. It's got threads on both sides. That 3/4 goes straight into this drain kit. We'll tighten that on down when we get ready. So, a few little materials there. So what we're going to start off with, we're going to drill our hole for this drain plug. Take that out for now. Remember, it's got reverse threads. So I'm going to put that hole pretty close to the bottom. I'll say about 2 inches up from the very bottom. Now this is something we really don't need to forget about. Let's go ahead. We're going to put one here. That's actually just a vent hole. We don't want to vapor lock this system. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to measure, and I'm going to make a little pilot hole with this bit right here. All right. I changed my unibit. Now I believe this size just measured out is basically 1.25 inches, and I just don't have the paddle bit, okay? I'm going to run this unibit through there. Just like that. Let me check it, make sure this is going to work. Oh yeah, I knew it would. Now this comes with a seal, this little gasket. We're going to make sure that gasket's on the inside, for the simple fact that when you're tightening up a nut on the outside, if that rubber was on the outside, this would get all squished and it's not going to act right. So just like that, and this is reverse threads, remember that. So that's going to the left. And I forgot, we can take some channel locks or something, tighten that up a little bit. So now we're going to take we're going to take that 3/4 by half reducer. That's going to go in there just like so. Okay, now we're going to take our little 1/2 inch male. We're going to run into there. I want to keep this as short as possible, basically. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut me a piece of this, probably about, I don't know, what's that, 2 inches? I'm going to take a little bit of this glue. I'm glad because that's about all I got. It's a little bit. Now this is a what's called a one-step glue. The primer and the glue is all in one. And I'm going to tell you, you really need to use some cleaner or primer when you're doing this. Because I'm going to tell you, even though it's not for pressure, that primer just makes it hold better, okay? Because I have had stuff I've just glued together and it will pull loose. And I'm going to work that valve. Anytime I do any gluing on a valve. Now, that little piece I cut off of, I'm going to stick it in there. And we'll make the adjustments on the inside of the coop. And I really forgot one of the main parts. Our watering cups and our little tees. Okay? We need those. Okay. The easy way to do this. We can glue one tee on, okay? Glue them on. We're going to glue one to each piece. Okay. Now here's the part. Y'all watched any of our watering videos, you're going to know what I'm about to do. We're going to glue this together, but when I roll it down, I want this flat spot. I want that to be straight and that to be straight. So everything will be level, okay? And voila. So we're going to let that dry. let that glue dry for just a little while, probably at least 10 minutes. But while we're waiting on that to dry, I'm gonna work on something else. I'm gonna work on the fully automatic side of this water. Y'all seen us do that before. If you've never seen it, I'm gonna drop a link in the description of that video, and it's gonna show you exactly how to put this together. What I didn't show you, right there, that's just a toilet fill valve. And all I've done is taken a supply line that goes to the toilet, which is to a 3/8. There's a valve, a half-inch nipple, half-inch male, and you can buy these adapters, which is a half-inch to a water hose. So a water hose will hook right up to this right here, okay? And that would be your shut-off for your hose. So now we got our T's, everything's glued together. We're gonna take a little Teflon, we're gonna put on all these little cups, and we're gonna screw them in. I'm also gonna take that other little piece, I'm gonna put a valve on the end. You don't have to do this. You can just cap it off if you wanted to. I just like to have a way to drain this whole system down if I needed to, because I'll actually drain it down before we let chickens in there. That way we can get all these fumes and stuff from this glue and whatnot. I can flush it with water. And I'm gonna turn that one to the side. Now it's time to go back out there to the coop. Okay, so now you kind of see why I built this out as far as I did. So all I want to do is just put it on here. I'm going to match my pipe up, and I'm just going to cut just a little bit out just to allow that pipe to run through there. I'm going to go inside. We're going to put this 90 up because I want our waters to actually hold against these rails here. All right, so basically that's what I'm wanting to happen right here. Just like so. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to cut this PVC, glue my 90 on, and we're going to keep this halfway level, okay? It's not level, it's not going to hurt a thing. Your water will still flow through there. So all I need to do now is get these bad boys strapped up. We'll be good to go. All right, there we have it. I like it. It looks pretty good. Let's take it up on the hill here and let's test it out. Okay, water hose is hooked up. We're going to turn this valve on. Well, looking pretty good. Go to the other end. I'm going to leave that water in there for a few minutes. Then I'm going to go to that end valve we put. I'm going to flush it out. I'm going to do that several times before we put any chickens in here. So here's a second option, or it could be a first option, just using the hose to fill it up. Now, one concern was this bucket of water getting too hot during the summertime, but I think we can just take an extra sheet, or that sheet we had left over, screw it off and make a little shade for it there. I think I'm going to box this in on the 2x4s, just make a little cradle for it. Looks like another success to me. And here's a question we always get is how many can this hoop coop hold? When it comes to chicks, and these are what we call teenagers, okay? This is usually, they're gonna come out here at week 5 is usually when we start putting them out here. You can tell we have got about 50 in there right now. Now would I put 50 full grown hens in there? No, of course not. But I have raised 25 meat birds and they still have plenty of room in here. So I would say 25 would probably be the max I would put in this hoop coop. These here, they're going to be here for a few more weeks and then they're going to go to their prospective places. Look, another question we get a lot of is it predator proof? And I hate to sound like a smart aleck, but it's not going to protect against grizzly bears and mountain lions, you know. But I can tell you this. Now, we're in Mississippi. I don't know what kind of predators you have. We have never had anything get in or try to dig underneath. Now, we have your usual suspects, you know, fox, coyotes, bobcats, and the worst is a community dog that's running around, or a neighborhood dog. That's probably predator number one right there. But no, we haven't had any issues with that. Now, we don't have, you know, minks and weasels and things of that nature. So use your own judgment on that. Now here's the original that you actually seen in the video from 3 years ago, I think. That's actually the original tarp. Now we put another little cheap tarp. Now we got a little moon roof on top. But as a whole, it's still, everything is held up. All the PVC, I mean everything, the wire. But I tell you what, we're going to be getting rid of this thing here shortly. It won't be long, and I'm going to make this one just like that one. This one really, or this one works great. But I'm going to tell you what, since I put that watering system out of the other one, there ain't no way I'm going to do another one like this without that watering system. All right, so let's talk about the cost. Now, we did buy the base. We had the base and the frame, all that was already built, right? We built that like 4 years ago. But I went back and looked up everything that we showed you here. I went back and took prices like from Lowe's and Home Depot, stuff like that. And you're basically, water and everything, you're going to have about $375 invested in this. And that may seem like a lot, but I'm going to tell you what, you can waste a lot of money and a lot of time on this other junk out there. I know for a fact, you know, that one is 4 years old. These other ones, they're 3-4 years old. No problems out of them. And I wouldn't put this out there if I didn't think it worked, okay? So it's been working for us. Maybe it'll work for you. This may not be something that you're interested in, but if you are, I'm going to tell you, you can't go wrong with this system. So, any attaboys, criticisms, comments, let's put in that comment section. Let's talk about it. As always, I appreciate you watching.